magical treats taste great, but justice and equality taste better. To combat hate, all ad revenue from my HB Kitchen will be donated to trans and LGBTQ charities. Thank you for supporting the kitchen and helping make the world a better place. Mischief managed.
Hello witches, wizards, and those who have just escaped from Azkaban, welcome back to my Harry Potter Kitchen, the YouTube series where we're baking our way through the Harry Potter books, creating recipes for every item of food and drink that we find inside. If you missed last week's recipe where we fried up breakfast for Aunt Marge in the shape of one of her dogs, then check out the link down below in the description to catch up. And if you're new to the kitchen and you want to see some more Harry Potter recipes, then hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so you get an alert every Magic Monday when there's a brand new recipe. Speaking of which, we've got something new to try. Recipes from chapter 2 of The Prisoner of Azkaban, Aunt Marge's Big Mistake, just keep on coming. There's a bit of commotion at Privet Drive after Aunt Marge insults Harry's parents, and then we see each of her fingers blowing up like a salami. A bit unfortunate for Aunt Marge, but at least we get a tasty treat out of it. Salami is on the menu this week, and it's another recipe that would take us quite a bit of time to make from scratch, and that's because salami is a type of cured meat which takes weeks and weeks to mature that flavour and preserve the meat so that it doesn't go off. We don't have quite enough time to bring that one to life from scratch, so instead I thought we'd use salami to create something just as magical. At this point in the book, Aunt Marge is being blown up and her hands and fingers are swelling, so I thought it would be great fun to create some dinner rolls that look like her hands and then put actual salami into the fingers. It's a great bit of fun, and of course you don't have to make them in hand shapes if you don't want to, it will taste just as good. First up, let's create the dough. To make your easy dinner roll dough, all you want to do is warm up your milk and then whisk in your yeast and sugar. Stir this through until nice and evenly combined and then set aside for about 5 minutes. Once you see it start to foam up, you'll know your yeast has been activated, so I'm going to add in the egg and then whisk that through until smooth. In your mixing bowl, pour in your flour and your salt, stir together and then make a well in the middle before pouring your yeast mixture in. If you're using a stand mixer with a dough hook, you want to knead this for about 5 minutes, or if you're doing it by hand, knead for about 10 minutes. Once you've got a nice soft dough, you then want to take your room temperature butter and then add it in a bit at a time while kneading through. Once all the butter is incorporated, give it another 5 minutes of kneading and you should have a lovely, glossy and elastic dough. I'm then going to grease a bowl lightly with some oil, place the kneaded dough in and then cover with cling film before leaving that to rise for an hour. You'll know it's ready once it's doubled in size. Now, as I mentioned at the start, we're going to make these dinner rolls look like Aunt Marge's hands and fingers. So it's going to take a little bit of time for us to rework that dough and shape it. It's really important though that you give it the first rise so it can start to activate the yeast. Then we're going to shape them and let them rise again so that when they hit the oven they are lovely and fluffy. It does take a little bit of time to shape them, but just be patient and it will be worth it in the end. Once the dough is ready, I'm going to knock back the air slightly, kneading it for a minute before dividing into 6 balls. To shape these into Aunt Marge's hands, I'm going to cut off about half the dough and then roll that into the ball for her palm. The remaining half needs to be cut into 5, and these are going to be her fingers and thumbs. You want to take your 4 biggest pieces and then roll them out until they're nice and flat, and place a salami slice on top. You want to make sure there's enough dough to cover all of the sides and then roll that nice and tightly. Roll it on your surface to make sure the bottom is nice and sealed, and then pop that to one side while you continue with the rest of the fingers. Once all the pieces are ready, you want to grease your baking tray and then place the fingers on first. The dinner roll palm then needs to go over the top, and you want to make sure that it's at least touching the bottom of each finger. And then I'm going to take the last small piece of dough, roll that in my hand to make her thumb, sticking it to the palm and then stretching upwards. It takes a bit of time, but it's definitely worth it for the final effect. So keep on going until all of your dough and your salami has been used. I'm then going to cover those with some more cling film and then allow them to rise for another hour. If you're not a fan of salami or you don't eat meat, you can easily swap it out of this recipe and replace it with a whole host of ingredients. Cheese works really well, especially if you get a nice stringy variety, then you can pop it in and it will be lovely and gooey between those layers of your hot dinner roll. Or if you're looking for a cool vegan alternative, pesto works really well. You want to still flatten that out, spread over the pesto and then roll it up, and you'll have that lovely spiral of flavoring inside. All we have left to do is to bake our Aunt Marge's hands, and then it's time to enjoy. Once your salami dinner rolls have doubled in size again, it's time to bake those in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 360 Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes. At this point they should be lovely and golden, but to give them an extra shine, I'm going to glaze them with some melted butter over the top while they're still warm. Allow them to cool for about 5 minutes before removing from the tray, and then all that's left to do is plate up and enjoy. Sorry Aunt Marge, maybe these salami hands will make you think twice before insulting Harry. So there you go, we've brought to life Aunt Marge's swollen hands as some delicious dinner rolls packed full of salami in the fingers. Let me know what you think down below in the description. If you want to see more of these Harry Potter recipes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and then click on the notification bell so you get an alert every Magic Monday when there's a brand new recipe. I'm off to tuck into my rolls, so I'll see you next week.